What?
so badly
you're
want to.
grimacing.
I so badly want to nod my head, I'm.
Go ahead. You know what? Embrace it, Charles.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
There's no shame. That is a catchy song.
But it is on every single workout playlist that I have. Welcome to Get to the Hook. I am your co-host, Charles Latibeaudiere.
And I'm your co-host, Eric Colley.
And we are here to say Happy 4th of July, everyone.
Happy 4th.
This is the hook this week is about America's birthday on the 4th of July, which has become synonymous with particular songs. And there are certain holidays that we always think about that you know that there are songs people play all the time. Christmas, it happens. Halloween, it happens. As it turns out, 4th of July, people have very specific songs that they are playing at an alarming clip, I would say.
It's growing huge. The same way now, like, at the end of the year, Christmas songs completely dominate the charts. Mariah Carey always goes to number one now. Now Brenda Lee is getting number one every year. Halloween, you see Thriller, Ghostbusters, The Monster Mash, those songs re-enter every year. And now the 4th of July, because of streaming, we see what people are listening to. And on the 4th, there's songs that become so big. One of them actually re-entered the charts last year on the Billboard charts.
Oh, good tease.
Yeah,
Let's not give it away yet.
No, not going to give away yet. We're going to do a little countdown.
Oh, all right.
The 10 biggest
get my Casey
4th of July related songs last year. So this was from the 4th of July Spotify daily chart a year ago. So you see what songs people are gravitating towards.
Right.
So
now there are certainly, there's a couple that come to mind that I'm sure are in the top 10.
Right.
Lee Greenwood has to be in there.
No.
Obviously. Lee Greenwood is not.
Well, that was the first one I wanted to talk about. I assumed Lee Greenwood's God Bless the USA was going to be, if not number one, top 5 for sure.
Right.
It was 137 on Spotify's chart last year.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I was looking up about it, and so this is going back a few years, but radio airplay for the song over the 4th from 2017 to 2018 decreased by 33%. Maybe people are just they're tired of it.
Over that one.
And so this year is the 40th anniversary of that song, and I thought, well, maybe it'll get a bump. But also Lee Greenwood released the God Bless the USA branded Trump Bibles,
right,
which might put some people off.
And I think that's probably, see, I was looking at you said from 2017 to 2018.
Right, and that was Trump's presidency.
Right, so I think he just became so attached to Trump, and as we know, if you support Trump or you support Biden very publicly, half the country is going to hate you, at least half.
Well, let's listen to a little bit for people who don't know the song or don't remember it. This was God Bless the USA.
'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
It's also got that song came out in 84. It's got sort of that sort of schmaltzy 80s ballad production. Maybe that just doesn't hit with people.
Yeah.
On the
Even
4th.
That's not going to get your 4th of July it's not going to be a lit picnic if
maybe I'll stand up next to you part can kind of get you a little pumped. But no, that song,
that's not cookout ready.
No, that is not a cookout song. So that one was not one of the ones. Some other ones that I thought would be there. Whitney Houston's Star Spangled Banner is not. Although also Chris Stapleton did a version of Star Spangled Banner at the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
Right.
So maybe they kind of split the difference with each other. Ray Charles, America the Beautiful, not on the list. I think maybe people, that's the thing is,
okay, so
they don't want to listen to these. These are like the standards.
I've gathered what's going to happen here. This list is going to be more like party songs. These are going to be upbeat.
Some of them.
These are going to be upbeat songs where people want to celebrate, and it really is for your cookout.
Yeah, and
right?
some of
when you're throwing the frisbee, throwing the football,
you want some jams.
Right.
Some of these are not. But they kind of all are. And some of these, it's the same way with Christmas. You have like your religious songs, like the very literal, like Birth of Jesus songs. Then you got just like your secular holiday party songs. Some of these are more just generic summer songs.
Right. That's what I was saying. Almost like road trip songs that you would put on for okay. All right.
Well, let's get to number 10.
Let's dive in.
Number 10, the biggest 4th of July songs last summer. And we'll see how they all do this year. This one has nothing to do about the 4th of July or particularly America in a specific sense, but
was it recorded in America?
Good
enough.
It references a very specific place in America, which is why I have some mixed feelings on this song. But number 10, John Denver, "Take Me Home, Country Roads."
West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country roads.
I will tell you, Eric, I know, and for those who don't know, Eric is from West
I
Virginia.
am from West Virginia.
I have
so
never set foot in the state, but I've always loved that song. I don't
Yeah,
know why. There's something about
that's my thing. Being from West Virginia, there's part of me that's just like, oh God, this song. You just hear it so much when you're from there.
right.
But now, especially not living there, every time I hear it, it's like, oh, I want to go
You
home.
get a little, yeah.
Take me home, country roads. I think that is a sort of. It's not about America specifically, even though it does reference West Virginia. It's just the feeling of
Being
home
out
and
in
country
the rural
and-
area on the walking a country road reminds me of the James Taylor song "Country Road."
Yeah.
I have same, I
Like
don't
you
know,
said,
same affinity for it.
You've never been to West Virginia, but that song makes you a little nostalgic. So I think
Yes.
it has that appeal for everybody. And whatever state you're from, whatever place you're from, especially if you're from a smaller place, that song's going to appeal to you.
And I'm telling you, 10 drinks into your cookout, everybody will be singing along to it, even if they've never ever been in the country.
Oh, then suddenly you're all from West Virginia.
Yeah.
But all right. I'm not going to gatekeep, but
Right.
not. Number 9, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Fortunate Son. That one's odd to me because that's a very sort of
that's one of those-
anti-American song.
That's like the Bruce Springsteen "Born in the USA."
And
which
spoiler, that's going to be on
I
this
know
list.
that's coming up, but yeah, same thing. A song that is not patriotic, but folks just
Yeah, it was
feel like it is.
a protest of the Vietnam War. It's but it's a rockin' song.
Although I will say, there's nothing more patriotic and American than protest. So
True.
you know what? Good choice.
But who wants to protest at a picnic unless you're protesting the macaroni? It's like, what did you put in this? I'm boycotting this. I'm
Are
protesting.
those raisins? What the?
Number 8. Now this is nothing to do with 4th of July in a literal sense, but it's a summer party song. Kid Rock's This Is All Summer Long.
Not thinking about tomorrow, singing Sweet Home Alabama all summer long.
Turn it up.
See, now this is where the politics don't matter as much. Kid Rock is very right-leaning, obviously.
Very light.
A lot of people,
right-leaning,
half the country does not agree with him.
right? And samples a song that some people
Right.
are offended by.
But that song's a jam. Let's
but
not
it's-
lie.
It's still a jam.
And it also it samples Werewolves of London by Warren Zevon, and it also samples Sweet Home Alabama
Sweet
by
Home
Leonard
Alabama.
Skinner, which is number 7 on the list.
There you go.
So I guess if you hear one, you're like, put on the Skinner
Right,
song. Let's hear them
exactly.
both.
That's exactly what
Yeah.
happens at the party. He's like, you know what? Now that you put that on, go ahead. Let me hear Leonard Skinner.
Yeah, and I think Sweet Home Alabama, beyond just being a super catchy rockin' song, it's the same thing as like Take Me Home Country Roads, where whether you're from Alabama or not, there's just something that makes you feel
And everybody
America about it.
and everyone loves summer. That's really what that
everybody
song
loves
is. It's like a summer party song. And regardless of Kid Rock's politics and everything and other antics, shooting up Bud Light,
Yeah,
shooting up cases of Bud Light, we all love summer. So everyone,
but to
Overlooks
that point, like Creedence Clearwater Revival, that's a very left-leaning song. People like that song. This is these are very right-leaning artists, but they're just fun songs. And
Yeah.
people when you're at the 4th and you're having your drink,
They
and
have
all that,
been-
you don't care.
they have been right leaning up to this point, right? So
They have been, but then let's skew very, very left here. Number 6, just ahead of Kid Rock and Leonard Skinner. I'm sure they'd love that. This is an obvious one though. Katy Perry, Firework.
Baby, you're a firework. Come on, let your colors
I was not prepared for that one in my headphones.
It's a lot louder. Yeah, the recordings, songs are louder now than they
Yeah.
used to be. Yeah, nothing about the 4th of July to do. And she doesn't even mean firework in a literal sense.
It
Even though she
doesn't,
does it
but
in the
everyone
video,
plays it as that. And every
course you
time I go to a fireworks display at the 4th, they always, coordinate it to that song at some point.
Right, and it's a fun song. It's just an
Right.
up-tempo, driving dance pop song. And again, the more drinks you have, the more fun you're going to have, the louder you're going to sing it.
Exactly.
And so people get into Katy Perry there.
Fireworks. Tell you a little fireworks story. By the way,
no.
I don't know. Depending on where you live in the country, the fireworks have been going on for the last month anyway.
Ugh, they've been
It
happening in my
starts
house
the
since
fir-
May.
The beginning of June is where it happens around where I live. People start setting off fireworks, and I was flying into New York 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago on the 4th of July, like right after sunset is when I was landing, and the fireworks. And I'm not talking about like the display that they do in Manhattan and the Macy's and all that.
Big official
No,
ones.
This was all of Queens and Brooklyn as the plane is coming in, and I'm just seeing all sorts of colors and things exploding, and I'm like, do they know? Is there a clear path to the runway? I just want to be sure. I mean, I know probably a firework isn't going to take out an M80 is not going to take out a commercial airliner, but man, what a display! I'm just saying, if you want to time it out and you want to get a free fireworks display, I recommend it highly.
Oh, I did that when I lived in
Be
Orlando.
a few drinks in.
Yeah, when I lived in Florida, I was flying in one night. It was the 4th, and so Disney had their whole thing going off, which was really cool looking down at a fireworks display.
Yes.
We were landing, but then it's Florida, the fireworks everywhere. You just look out, just it was lit up. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the colorful, fun part of
Yeah.
4th of July.
Until you blow your fingers off.
And
Be
that's
careful,
not
y'all.
fun. Be careful with your fireworks. All right.
Number 5, this one I totally understand why it's on
Love
here.
it.
This is, again, getting a little political, but there's a reason I don't think I would want to listen to this. Toby Keith's Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, The Angry American.
Not the one I thought we were going to. My bad.
Yeah,
But-
no. That was number 5. And especially this year, I think that one might surge a bit because of Toby Keith's death. But politics aside or anything, in my mind, that song just so reminds me of like right after September 11th and that whole era and
Very
the war in
aggressive.
Afghanistan. But it's depressing to think
Yeah.
about that moment specifically in America. That was a dark, sad time.
Right.
And this song was more, the angry, up-tempo kind of thing. But I guess just for me, if you were around then,
it reminds you of that time, and yeah, it
it's
was
just a downer.
And while the song is certainly trying to turn that around and make it more like, let's all get together and celebrate
Yeah.
going out and kicking someone's ass.
Putting a boot in it.
You can't think about
Yeah.
putting the boot in someone's ass and without thinking about why they were,
Yeah.
thinking about doing that. And it's I get your point.
Yeah, like,
Kind of I don't play the song that often, actually.
never.
Never. I mean, I hear it every now and then, and usually around the 4th of July. You don't hear it that much anymore outside of the 4th of July.
And I thought maybe...
At least, we live in
Well,
California,
yeah.
so that's different.
But I think that might be also partly maybe the 9/11 thing with Lee Greenwood and with the Whitney Houston Star Spangled Banner. Both of those songs had huge spikes after
Attached
September
to
11th.
war, yeah.
Everybody went to that. And so maybe if you remember that, you don't want to listen to those songs.
Yeah.
Because they just remind you of it, and it's just so depressing. But
Yeah, that's true. And I actually now you bring it up with the Whitney Houston. While everyone loved it and celebrated it because we were going to war, and it was the first time in our generation that the country was actually going to a war. Yeah, it wasn't a great feeling. I mean, I
No.
know in that moment, listening to her sing it, everybody came together and felt very patriotic. But I also remember that before that, a lot of people were worried about what happens and what is it like to actually be living in a country when we're at war, because we hadn't experienced that.
because that's also partly why Whitney's Star Spangled Banner blew up the first time in 1991 when she recorded it, was the Gulf War.
Right.
And so people were like feeling very patriotic then, but the Gulf War didn't last that long.
Didn't last that long. And as it turns out, we didn't have a lot to be worried about.
Yeah.
But we didn't know at that
Yeah.
point.
So that song was
how it was gonna
spiked,
go.
and it kind of got forgotten. And then after September 11th,
Came
people
back again.
gravitated back towards it. And I think now it's so much more associated with September 11th than the Gulf War.
Yeah.
And I think same thing for God Bless the USA. That also, got big again in 91. But I don't know, after September 11th, those songs are just hard
Yeah.
to listen to for me. But maybe younger people, well, I guess let's say younger people wouldn't have that association. They also don't want to listen to Lee Greenwood. Or,
Right.
or if they're going to play a Whitney Houston song, it's probably not going to be that one.
Right.
Number 4. Also, I get why it's on here, but American Pie by Don McLean.
Yeah, come on.
It's like 8
Come
minutes
on.
long.
It's 8 minutes long,
It's-
but at the end of the night, this song, especially in most of the country, and certainly in the middle of the country and in the South, like this is a song that people will all sing along to at the end of the night.
Yeah.
We probably should have stopped serving booze like 2-3 hours ago, but we kept going. So go ahead, put it on.
Yeah.
And let's all sing along.
Well, like I said, it's 8 minutes long. So the first 5 or 6 minutes, you just got to slam whatever you're drinking. And then you're going to be feeling really good for the whole, like, bye, Miss American Pie. When you get to the end of it, then you're feeling it maybe.
And also, whenever people are singing along to that song, it amazes me how they don't know. Everyone knows like the first verse and they know the chorus, but then the longer the song goes on, it starts to fade out. People are like, they don't. Yeah.
And then they'll start
don't
having
actually know it.
conversations. And then like 5-6 minutes in, like, is this still on? Is this song still going? Yes. And even that, it's sad. It's about Buddy Holly dying in a plane crash when he was 22. That's depressing.
Yeah, but it's upbeat.
It's got a beat. I
Did
can
you
dance to it.
rise
Okay, number 3. This one, This one is not in any sort of way depressing or problematic, but I personally, and I think there's certain people like me who associate this with something kind of creepy.
Yep, I know exactly what
Number
you're gonna say.
3, this song never even charted on the Billboard Hot 100, but it is a classic song. This is Tom Petty's American Girl.
Make it last all night. She was an American girl.
I love that song. It's a
Great,
great
song, and I know the creepy thing that you
know.
are connecting it to, and that is the Silence of the Lambs.
The Silence of the Lambs, when that movie came out, there's the scene, I'd say spoiler, but the movie's been out for 33 years,
Right.
so it's really on you at this point if you haven't seen it, where the senator's daughter's in her car, bopping and singing to American Girl, and she sees a guy with a moving van struggling with a couch because his arm's in a cast, and she tries to help him, but it's Buffalo Bill, and he clocks her in the head and throws her in a pit in his basement. I always associate this song with that.
I actually, the visual always comes to my mind when I hear the song. I don't let it
No, I still love the song. It's a
depress me
great
too
song.
much, but because also it was fictional, but whatever.
Yeah.
Great song. Great song.
Yeah, and like I said, it's funny that it never charted, but it's between that and Free Fallin', I think, for Tom Petty's most
Never
iconic song.
charted.
Well, it just
Did they release it as a
they
single?
did, but before, like from his first album, right before he blew up. So
Yeah.
it's become a classic over the years, but it was never big in any one single moment.
Right. He needed something else to actually capture.
Yeah,
everyone to
and then he
know.
was off and running. But that's not everything has to be a chart hit. Obviously, American Girl is a great song, and everybody knows it. Number 2. This is Bruce Springsteen.
Of course it is.
Born in the USA. Is there anybody that
How
doesn't
is-
know what this song's about at this point? Everybody knows,
I
right?
know. I don't think they do.
Still? It's been
I-
40 years.
I think they don't, but we'll tell you.
Well, yeah, it's about how America treated Vietnam vets.
Yeah.
And we did not do right by them.
Nope.
And it is
Yeah.
not about being proud of the country. And it's not even a political song in the sense that, I mean, it came out during the Reagan era, and certainly Bruce Springsteen's very left-leaning. I'm sure he's not a fan of Ronald Reagan, but it's not an attack on Reagan
No.
or Nixon or Carter or any particular president. It's just the country as a whole, which makes it even more weird to me that people rally around it as this patriotic song.
Because you know how it works, and Eric, how it works is people, they only care about the hook.
It's a real catchy
And the hook is just yelling, "Born in the U.S." What of course we love it.
Dun, yeah.
Right.
And again, if
so-
you've had some drinks,
But what you should really do, so this year at your 4th of July party, when this song comes on, play the YouTube with the lyrics, right? And put that up on the big screen so everyone can see it. And then they'll be like, wait a second.
this is
what the-
depressing.
Yeah,
This is
wait.
sad.
Turn it off.
That's like I say, it's not even a political thing because, like we were saying, like with Kid Rock or Katy Perry or people who are like very left or very right, you can just like disagree with them or whatever.
Sure.
But this, Bruce Springsteen, it was an indictment of all of us as citizens of this country. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, it makes you feel bad about being American.
Yeah.
And yet it was the second most played song last 4th of
Because
July.
all they care about is the hook,
That's right.
which gets us to number 1.
Number 1. You got any guesses? Don't look and see.
I knew what it had
Oh,
to be
yeah.
once by elimination because I knew this song was on.
Yeah. But you would
This
not have guessed
before.
this, right?
I wouldn't have guessed it was number 1.
This song was number 1. It was top 10 on Spotify that day. It re-entered the Billboard chart at number 50.
It also happens to be I think my number 1 guilty pleasure.
Why even be guilty? It's a great song. This was the number
I
1
feel
4th of
guilty.
July anthem. This is the All I Want for Christmas Is You. This is the Thriller for 4th of July. This
She is the Mariah Carey of
and the
4th
Michael
of July.
Jackson. Miley Cyrus, Party in the USA.
It's a party in the USA. It's a party in the USA.
What?
I so badly
You're
want to.
grimacing.
I so badly want to nod my head, but I'm.
Go ahead. You know
no,
what?
I'm not
Embrace it,
doing
Charles.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing
There's
it.
no shame. That is a catchy song.
But it is on every single workout playlist that I have. So no one can hear me when I'm listening to it.
Now I'm picturing you doing Pilates to Miley Cyrus.
If I'm working out, that song definitely comes on. If it doesn't come on, I go like, damn, the random mix didn't get it right.
You're like, I got my Lululemons, I got my Miley, I am ready to go. Working on his fitness.
But also, again, it's just the hook, and that's why it's very popular every 4th of July. It's a party in the USA.
Yeah, because the
There you go.
verses are oddly very personal to Miley about coming to LA and hearing her Jay-Z song and all that. It's a very specific song
Right.
to her. But then that chord, it's a party in the USA. That's all you want.
I
You
wonder
want-
if she thought when she was writing it that it would be like, was that a bonus when they wrote it? And someone must have said, they're going to love this on 4th of July.
Well, I don't think so because streaming
Nobody
wasn't
was
a thing
making
yet.
songs for that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so there was no. That's why we know now which songs are popular and why these songs can blow up again every single year because of streaming. You just put on a playlist, there it is. Back in the day, even Christmas, you had to go fish out your old Mariah Carey CD from 1994 if you wanted to hear that song.
Right.
So it was a lot more of a hassle. Now
Or,
you just put on a playlist, and people
or when
put
we
on.
were kids, you
Yeah.
have to go get your cassette player, your double deck, your dual deck cassette player, so you could play the. All right, I'm just totally dating myself.
No,
Forget about
no,
it.
I
But
totally
I
know
know
what you're
you know
talking
what
about.
I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, you had to fish out, your grandparents' records if you wanted to hear Bing Crosby at Christmas, or where did I put my copy of Thriller at Halloween? But now you just pull up a playlist, which is partly why we see the same songs every holiday doing well because people just look up Halloween
Right.
playlist.
It's hard for
Christmas
something
playlist.
new to break in, and we had actually when we did, was it last year for our TMZ's Merry Elfin Christmas, and we had Gavin DeGraw. I think
Yeah.
it was last year.
Yeah.
And he put out a Christmas album last year, but he didn't do anything new. It's just standards, and we talked to him about it. He goes, "It's hard to you could write a new Christmas song, but it's not gonna sell. And
Right.
if you're lucky, maybe it breaks through, and then 10 years down the road, it becomes something." But he's like, everyone knows what they love for Christmas, and so you play those songs, and people play
Because
them.
it's comforting. That's the thing about holidays. It's tradition.
Yeah.
And so you hear the traditional songs, and even the ones that become huge, that become the modern classics, take a while. Like All I Want for Christmas Is You is 30 years old now. And it was a hit when it came out in 94, but it took 5-10 years to start even remotely becoming what it is now. And we're seeing the other modern classics. We'll probably get into this closer to Christmas, but Ariana Grande, Santa Tell Me, Kelly Clarkson's Underneath the Tree, those two songs, every year, like last year, they both got to number 11.
Right.
They're creeping up.
Slowly creeping up.
In 5 to 10 years, they might be going to number 1 and knocking Mariah and Brenda Lee out of
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah, because
But
at
it
some
will
point-
take them 20 years to do it.
Right. So what we're saying is, in like 20 years, someone else will be doing Party in the USA.
Probably.
Yeah.
But even that, that song makes me feel old, but that song's 15 years old. Came out in 2009, so...
Happy birthday, America. I know you're older than I am, right? So we got that.
By like 10 years.
Just
Was it
barely.
hot? Was it hot in Philadelphia back in the 1700s, or I don't know?
You know, the lightning storms would come through, and Ben was always out there with his kite. So
You got those wool pants on and the wigs and stuff. I'm sure it was miserable. Well, you have to tell us about it next time.
yes, next time. That is going to do it for this episode of Get to the Hook. Enjoy your 4th of July and the cookout, and
Don't blow your fingers off.
yeah, and play good music. We'll see you next time.